Welcome back. Now, the pound has been falling in value throughout 2022, as I understand it. Last week, it fell below $1.09 for the first time since 1985. Analysts say the recent drop was a consequence of investors taking fright at the thought of how much money the government will have to borrow to pay for the sweeping tax cuts Chancellor Kwasi Kwarteng announced in his mini-budget on Friday. US investment bank JP Morgan said it was about, quote, a broader loss of investor confidence in the government's approach, close quotes. Joining me to help me understand what it all means is Marco Forgione, Director General of the Institute of Export and International Trade. Good evening, Marco.
Evening. Yeah.
Thank you for joining me. I find this very challenging information to try and get my head around, with my schoolboy arithmetic letting me down. Who benefits and who loses when the pound does this?
So there's quite a lot to unpick, actually, Neil, from the budget, and there are a number of reasons for that. What the Chancellor announced yesterday is a significant break with the orthodoxy of the past 35 years. And it's clear with this Prime Minister and this Chancellor that the government believes fundamentally that low taxes are going to spur growth and to turbo boost the UK economy. And there are issues. We have a significant problem with productivity in the UK compared to other nations. And we have seen over the last several years a decline in the number of businesses involved in international trade, exporting and indeed importing. So you ask about who benefits from the pound being at the level where it is against the dollar. Well, it's a huge opportunity for UK businesses to exploit and trade, particularly with the US, but with other nations as well. So hopefully what we will see now is a spark of innovation and for UK businesses to start to grow and expand their international markets.
But who loses? This has to be bad news for everyone else on the other side of that equation, surely.
So the issue is if it is cheaper to sell UK goods, it makes it more expensive to bring goods into the UK, which in itself may act as a spark for more manufacturing and for more investment into the UK. And the government is looking for foreign direct investment to come in to the UK through both its free port policy and the enterprise zones, which were announced yesterday.
What does it mean for people, the individual man and woman on the street, when the pound is falling like this? How will we notice it and feel it?
So if you are buying goods that have come in from overseas, then they will become more expensive.
Forgive me if my interpretation of this is just wholly too basic, but Liz Truss talked about 100+ billion to alleviate the energy price crisis, and Kwasi Kwarteng is proposing will be borrowing essentially to create these tax cuts. Is all of this not just the same solution again and again and again? Is it not just creating money? Is it not just a version of quantitative easing, just more and more money being whipped up out of nowhere?
So the aim of what they're doing is clear. They are borrowing money on the market, and what we saw as a result of the announcements yesterday actually is the cost of that borrowing has increased. We've seen an increase on the 10-year yield for UK gilts. But there will be a point where hopefully that will become more attractive to foreign investors to then buy, which would drive down the cost of the borrowing. But it's clear that what the government has done is a fundamental shift and change from what's been happening for the past 35 years.
Tom?
I don't think you have to be an economics expert to know that this country's been living beyond its means for some time. And in a sense, that's what both political parties, the whole political class, over 3 decades, through, in my view, a combination of statism and crony capitalism, that's why we've arrived at the point where things are so desperate with the patient now, the British economy, on the table, that this is a gamble by a new type of conservative, we haven't seen this for some time, who are going out on the nation's credit card and saying, if we jump-start the car, it might have a failed battery, but it might just be enough to get us back to growth. That's and it is a big if, and that's the theory. But why I think the exchange rate is really important is because in the end, that's like a nation's stock price. And the more the pound plummets against a basket of other international currencies, the less international confidence there is overall in our economic strategy. It's what's called the kindness of strangers in economics. The more we alienate that group of international investors, and we're borrowing something like 10% of our annual GDP just on day-to-day current account spending, that is not a sustainable path in any country's economic future. If you were every month, Neil, going out and spending 10% of your domestic household income on your credit card, sooner or later those creditors are going to run out of patience with you.
And so I think what we've seen with the budget, the announcement yesterday, is a shift, an attempt to try something different. Now, will it work? Will there be time?
Well, at least the metrics are clear, right, in the medium term. It's
will it
growth
fall? Will it fall
further?
further? I mean, is it fallen to its lowest level and become stable at that point, or will it fall again?
The likelihood is, my assessment would be, there's a chance it's going to fall further because
and how far?
The price point of the pound, which is similar to the euro and to the yen, is an indicator of the strength of the dollar currently. So the relationship between the dollar and the pound and the euro and the yen is a testament to the policies that are being pursued by the Fed in America, and the interest rate rises. There's every indication that the Fed is going to continue to increase the interest rate in the States, which is going to have an impact on sterling and the euro and other international currencies.